Are you looking to buy a home this year, or just curious about the process and what it takes to qualify and what steps you have to go through? Well, that's what I'm here for. And if you want to find out, let's keep watching this video. I'm Mike West. I'm a local real estate agent here in Metro Detroit with My Way Real Estate and Keller Williams Advantage. And I specialize working with first-time buyers, investors, and everything in between. So over the next few minutes, we're going to be going through a bit about the process, and you'll figure out what you got to do, and we'll get you on a game plan. So let's talk about the first step, and it's an easy one. Talk to a realtor. In the end of the day, it doesn't matter if you're talking to me or any other licensed agent that you may know or may not know, but it's good to talk with somebody who's knowledgeable and help guide you through this process. In the end of the day, this person is somebody that's going to be there to represent you and make sure that all your needs are being met, the I's are being dotted, the T's are being crossed, and their communication needs to be top-notch with you so you know everything's going on in the process. But this first step is actually free, simple, and easy. It's usually quick just to schedule a short consultation with that realtor, sit down, go over your goals, go over your situation, and figure out that game plan from there. So free and easy first step, talk to a realtor, whether that's me or anybody else. Now, step two is to talk to a lender and get pre-approved. Now, a lot of people don't know lenders or know where to begin when it comes to that conversation. So if you talk to me, I'll be happy to guide you in that and connect you with lenders that I work with and I trust. Now, if you do things right and contact me out of the gate, I'll walk you through the whole process, refined specifically to your needs. But if you're curious, we're going to keep going through. So the reason why a pre-approval is so important and what that means is it means that we have a financial institution that is willing to back us behind the purchase. What they're going to be doing is analyzing your criteria, what you're looking for, and your qualifications to figure out how much they can approve you for, what your payments are going to look like, and ultimately, it's going to be needed for us to submit offers on any property that we look at. If you don't have a pre-approval, we don't have any money. I can say all day long that I'm going to buy this house for $1 million. But when someone says, okay, cool, where's the money? And you say, I don't know, I'll figure it out later. Nobody knows where it's coming from. This solves that problem. So when we submit our offer, it's legit. They know where it's coming from. They know we're going to be good. So next comes the fun part. I have a blast with this stuff. Shopping. Most people like shopping, I imagine. Sometimes it can be a little bit stressful when you're out there looking, but at the end of the day, we're going to see a lot of fun stuff out there. We're going to see houses in a variety of different conditions, ranging from a total disaster to the most amazing house you've ever seen and everything in between. It's always really interesting to me to see what some people choose to do with their houses. When we first meet, we're going to get an idea of the criteria that you're looking for, what you're trying to hit. I'm going to create a search list for you that is going to be as close to what you're looking for as possible, with a little bit of wiggle room where we need it, but not getting rid of the must-haves. We're going to schedule times and dates that we can meet up and actually go through the process of viewing these houses and really looking for a lot of big ticket items and things that are important. So there's a lot of creative ways that we can actually write an offer to not just protect you, but to offer some unique value to a seller that can potentially beat out some competition. That's some stuff that we're going to discuss in another video. I'm just going to get you through the process right now. So while we're out shopping, there's one thing I really want you to pay attention to more than anything, and that's how you feel about the place. As I mentioned, we're going to see a lot of wild stuff out there. You're going to have this whole process itself is a whole range of emotions. It's a bit of a roller coaster, not going to lie. But you need to know when we get there if this house feels like a home to you. Can you envision yourself truly living in this place and not just making something work? If you're like me, we can deal with anything, but I don't want you just to deal with something and make it work. I want it to feel like the right place for you, because this is going to be a big investment of yours in a long time. So I really want you to pay attention to your emotions and how that feels. Don't just make it work, let's make it home. So once we get to that feeling, you and I are going to discuss, or you and your realtor are going to discuss how we're going to write an offer, what's going to be in it, what terms are going to be on it, and we're going to get that drawn up. Now we're in 2024. Most people are using things like DocuSign for electronic signatures, or dotloop or something similar. Or if you're a little more old-fashioned, we can always do this paper and pen style. But before you ever even get to this point where we're writing the offer, that's something that I want to discuss with you in that first meeting. But now we've got the offer, we're going to package it up, we're going to submit it out to the seller, to the listing agent, and we are going to hope for a good answer. So usually about a day or two, sometimes even 3 after we've submitted an offer, the listing agent is going to call the buyer's agent and tell them the good or bad news. In this case, this is what happens when you get that good news. I'll get informed, hey, we're accepting your offer. We're sending over that bottom line. I'm going to call you up and say, congratulations, you just got your offer accepted. This is where your emotions are going to get real high. And then this is really when the timeline is going to really start. The first thing we're going to do after we get that offer accepted, we're going to take a few minutes to celebrate. And then we're going to bottom line the contract. When we bottom line this contract, this means the time starts. So depending on your contract, the timeline might change slightly, but typically what we see here is the first thing we're going to do is we have a 2-day period to first collect the earnest money deposit, also known as EMD. The next thing we're going to do is apply for the loan. Now, you might have just thought, wait, didn't I already apply for the loan over here? Well, the truth is no. That was what's called a pre-approval. The loan application starts once we actually have a property under contract, and that's when they start getting into the nitty-gritty about the underwriting and all the details we need to qualify. The EMD, so you have some understanding of what that is. Earnest money deposit. This is money we put up in good faith with our contract to show that we are serious about buying this property, that we mean business, we're putting our money where our mouth is. This is not extra money, it's not an extra fee, but what this is money that we do potentially risk losing should we get cold feet and back out for no good reason. Now, I'll talk to you how we typically have that kind of thing protected in our own contracts, but everybody's contract is going to be a little bit different. So the EMD is the first time that money is actually going to come out of your pocket in this transaction. As I mentioned, you do potentially risk losing that money. However, we protect it and you can potentially get that back. And the first thing we do to help protect that money is a private inspection. Now, I'm actually a former union carpenter, Detroit Local 687, proud union member here. I have a lot of history in construction, but I can tell you, I can help out during our process while we're looking, but I am not your inspector. I highly advise that we hire a third-party inspector to work for you to do the service of getting an extra set of eyes on it to get into the property. What they do is they will go in all the spaces that we don't normally see during a walkthrough, your crawl spaces, your attics. They will run your systems, test things. They will do sewer scopes. There's a variety of things we can do with this. But this is a period of time we have, usually 3 to 7 days, depending on what we decide to schedule, to get this done. Now, this is the second time money will come out of your pocket, but usually it's only a couple $100. And this can help save your EMD and potentially save you from thousands of more dollars in repairs later on. So once we are past our inspection, now a couple of things happen. We'll get our report back and we'll review everything, and we will make sure that we are satisfied with the condition. If there are issues with the property, we can see about negotiating in a variety of ways, including having the repairs fixed, giving us a credit to fix the repairs, or even potentially a reduction in price. We'll discuss that more based on each specific scenario that we find ourselves in. But once we are satisfied with that, we're going to move on to order the appraisal. Usually around 10 to 14 days into the transaction, this appraisal gets ordered. What an appraisal is, it's when the bank or the lender sends a third-party licensed appraiser to view the property, ensure that it's in good, safe condition depending on the loan type and it's livable. But ultimately, the goal is to find the value of the home. What they do is they look at the property and they look at comparable apple-to-apple similar type properties in the same neighborhoods that have recently sold. They juggle some numbers around and they say the house is worth X, Y, or Z. Now that number has to meet or exceed the purchase price that we agreed on initially. And I will tell you, you can have 10 different appraisers go to the same house and get 10 different results. Just depends on which aspects they put a little more weight to. This appraisal, first and foremost, is to protect the bank's asset in investing in you and investing in the property, ensuring that they are not giving you more money than the house is worth. One more thing about this appraisal. It's also the next time money is going to come out of your pocket. Most lenders do require their buyers to pay for the appraisal up front. This fee can be anywhere from say $500 to $1,000. Unfortunately, they make the buyer pay for this up front because if it doesn't go through, the deal falls apart, somebody's got to be out of that money. and the bank's not going to let it be them. If the property value comes in less than our purchase price, if we can't renegotiate the deal to work out and the deal falls apart, you're going to get that EMD money back. That's how we have it protected under contract. So the next thing we're looking at doing is completing all the underwriting. So I'll be honest, this is the biggest headache of the whole process. This is when the old man in the monocle that you never get to see, meet, or talk to is line by line looking through all of your financials, which is why it's really, really important that you keep all your information in an easy to access location so you can send it to them. This includes things like your W-2s, bank statements, investment accounts, pay stubs, the rest of it. They'll ask you constantly, hey, I need this. Okay, you give them that. Hey, now I need that. Okay, I get that. This is when it can get a little bit frustrating. But don't worry, I'll help set you up so that you are well prepared before we even start this, so that process will become easier and easier for you. So the next thing I've got on my list here is title work. Now that doesn't necessarily start after the underwriting is complete. In fact, we actually usually start that in the beginning of the process. But one of the nice parts about it is it's not usually something you as the buyer have to worry about. Us as a real estate agent representing you is going to get this rolling right from the beginning. But I want to discuss this because this is the part that needs to be finalized before we can get to a closing table. What title work is ultimately we're going to have a title insurance agency that's going to be looking to provide what they call a warranty deed, which is going to ensure that there's no additional liens on the property, such as a mortgage that was not recorded, or a contractor lien, or any other type of judgment that might be on there. That way you as a buyer are not liable for the previous owner's responsibilities. Title work. So the first happiest day in this whole process is when we get to tell you your offer was accepted. The next happiest day is when we tell you you've got the clear to close. That means that the underwriters and the closing department has reviewed all of your documents and has fully approved your loan. Congratulations. This was the hardest part to get through. Everything else from here is cakewalk. So the clear to close means everything's good to go. We're ready to schedule. You're ready to become a homeowner. So now we've got that clear to close. The CD's been sent out. Everyone's all excited. This is the end, almost. The next thing that's going to happen is we're going to schedule this closing. Your real estate agent is going to communicate with the listing side, the title agencies, the lenders, and yourself to find a time and a date that we can meet up to sign all the rest of the paperwork to complete the purchase. We call this the closing. This is the last time money is going to come out of your pocket. The lender will inform you what the bottom line is for your down payment and your closing costs are well before we get to this point, so you can be prepared for this. Also, the EMD money from the beginning, this is money that gets used towards covering those costs. We'll talk more about the costs and the details of all that in another video, but this is going to be the happiest day in your recent and near life. We've completed this long process. Your emotions were high, your emotions were low, and finally we finish on a nice high note. I would love the opportunity to help you if you got any questions, walk through it a little bit more detail and get something specific to your needs. But this is the basic steps. You can expect the start to finish from the bottom line to here to take approximately 30 to 45 days, sometimes a little bit sooner. So congratulations, you've made it to the closing table and now you have completed the purchase of your home. Whether this is your first home, second, or your last home, I want you to know that our relationship doesn't stop there. I want to constantly be seen as a resource or a guide for you and your family's needs for the future just as well. Homeownership is truly a dream that I feel that any American can achieve, even if you don't believe it. We can get you there. There's a path to get you there. And I would love to be your guide to doing so, your resource. So if you have any questions about the process, about lenders, or anything else, please feel free to reach me at my contact info right here. And I hope to hear from you all soon.